Have you ever noticed how people can be in the exact same situation but still respond completely differently? They could all be in the middle of chaos, but one person may seemingly only care about themselves and what's going on for them, and another person may be bending over backwards trying to please everyone, and yet another person may somehow just be able to kind of calmly watch it all unfold. What's interesting is that these differences really aren't that random, and they may actually be a lot more telling than we think. Robert Kegan, a Harvard psychologist, spent decades studying this, and during this time he discovered that adults don't just grow older. We also grow in how we make sense of ourselves and other people, and even reality itself. In other words, the way we experience life in this moment isn't just about our personality, it's also about the stage of mind we're in. He determined that there are actually 5 distinct stages of consciousness and meaning-making that shape how we interpret our experiences, make decisions, and navigate the complexities of life. So let's just go ahead and break it down, but please keep in mind that these stages are not fixed. So if you feel like you're kind of stuck in a stage that you're really not that happy with, just remember that we can always grow into new ways of seeing the world. So starting from the very beginning, the first stage is what Kegan calls the impulsive mind. We mostly experience this as children when our life is really all about our immediate desires. Think of it as the I want it now stage. A toddler that grabs for a toy that someone else is playing with is a perfect example of this. And even though adults don't typically live here, we can easily slip back into it if we're under stress, like if someone cuts us off in traffic and we immediately get really angry and act without thinking. Now, the second stage is called the imperial mind. So here, life is still about us getting what we want, but now we at least realize that other people exist, although we do tend to view them as simply obstacles or tools to help us get our way. The theme of this stage is, what's in it for me? Some examples might be an adolescent who will only do chores if there's some kind of reward involved, or a coworker who will only help you out with a customer or a project if it benefits them in some way. Now, stage 3 is called the socialized mind, and according to Kegan, this is where the majority of adults spend most of their lives. At this stage, who we are is most defined by the groups that we belong to and the approval of other people. In fact, we can feel completely lost if they disapprove of what we think or do. The theme of this stage is, I am who you expect me to be. Think of a teenager who is desperate to fit in, so they adjust their opinions or their behavior to match their peers, or an adult who never questions even unreasonable requests from their boss out of fear of disappointing them. The upside here is that this stage can give us a real sense of belonging and connection. The downside, however, is that our sense of self is fragile because it depends on what other people think. Now, stage 4, if we get there, is called the self-authoring mind. Here, instead of living according to other people's expectations, we create our own set of values and we have our own moral compass, and we really do live by them. The theme of this stage is I choose my path. So this might look like us leaving a stable job to pursue work that we find to be more meaningful, even if it's something that everyone thinks is a really bad idea, or choosing a relationship or lifestyle that deeply aligns with our beliefs but is maybe not exactly what society expects from us. At this stage, we're just a lot more guided by our own principles rather than the approval or opinions of others. But then we have stage 5, which is the rarest of all, called the self-transforming mind. Here we realize that even our own personal worldview really is just one lens. Not only that, but we're able to kind of step outside of it and see its limitations and truly appreciate the perspectives of others without feeling threatened. The theme of this stage is seeing beyond myself. An example of this stage might be a leader who is able to truly mediate polarized groups by recognizing the truth in both of their viewpoints and then kind of integrating their perspectives to create a more complete understanding. So those are all 5 stages, but how can we take all of this information and figure out what stage we are actually in? Just ask yourself honestly, which of these descriptions sounds the most familiar? Do I often act on impulse without much thought? If so, that points to stage 1. Do I mostly care about what I get out of situations? That's stage 2. Do I find myself defined by others' approval and expectations? That's stage 3. Do I live by my own values even when others disagree? That's stage 4. And finally, do I see even my own beliefs as just one perspective among many? If so, that is stage 5. Whichever resonates with us the most is likely our current lens on the world. And like I said earlier, these lenses can absolutely change as we go through our life. And according to Kegan, recognizing our stage is actually our first step towards growth. I would love to hear your thoughts on this, and if you're comfortable sharing what stage of life you think you are in, please do. I truly hope this video helped you to understand a little bit more about yourself, and I will see you in the next one.